Commission, please fill out a card and hand it to the clerk. And during our delivery of proclamations today, I'm going to ask that anybody who's a recipient try to restrict your comments to about 3 minutes. We have 7 proclamations we're going to do today. We're back to the days of doing proclamations. Okay, morning everybody. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for March 8th, 2022. May I please have a roll call?
Commissioner Bernard.
Here.
Commissioner Kerner.
Here.
Commissioner Marino.
Here.
Commissioner McKinley.
Here.
Commissioner Sachs. Here. Mayor Weinroth.
Here.
Vice Mayor Weiss.
Here.
Thank you.
Before we get to the invocation, I'm just going to go out of order on this and say that we have a member of our body who is in Tallahassee. I'd like to allow her to participate today. Can I have a motion for?
So moved.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Weiss, seconded by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, all opposed. Commissioner McKinley, feel free to participate in the meeting from this point forward. Commissioner Marino, would you please give us the invocation and the pledge? Please rise.
Father, help us to be sensitive to what is happening to those around us. Make us aware of the concerns of others and guide us through the decision process that is before us today. Give us the strength and courage to do what is best for all those who come before us. And let's try to leave the world a better place than we found it. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Marino. Okay, time to approve the agenda. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions, Madam Administrator?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, we have one add-on on page 70, item 7A1. It is the BCC's appointment to the healthcare taxing district.
Okay, looking for a motion to adopt.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner, seconded by Vice Mayor Weiss. All in favor, all opposed. Show that is approved, 7-0. Okay, it's now time to move on to our consent agenda. Is there anybody on the dais that would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Commissioner Marino.
No, but I have a comment on one.
Okay, I will just make sure that nobody wants to pull anything. Commissioner
do.
Bernard?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull item 3E3 and item H10.
3E3 and
H10.
H10. Vice Mayor Weiss, did you?
Yes, sir. I'd like to pull item 3E4 on page 17.
All right, so we're pulling 3E4, 3E3, and H10. Is there any comment cards from our audience?
I have no comment cards for the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Marino, you are recognized for your comments on the consent agenda.
Thank you. I would just like to say thank you to the Board of County Commissioners for allowing District 1 to choose the Jupiter Children's Foundation to hold its annual charity golf event at Trump International. As you may know, I was the executive director of this organization for 20 years and retired when I became a county commissioner, but I do appreciate the continued support of all of our board to help this charity do its good work in the north end of the county.
And we certainly appreciate the fact that we get to use that facility on an annual basis for nonprofits. Okay, I have the consent agenda in front of me. Can I have a motion to approve without items 3E3, 3E4, or H10?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner, seconded by Vice Mayor Weiss. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, show that is approved, 7-0. We'll now move on to item 3E3, and that was pulled by Commissioner
Bernard.
Bernard. I'm sorry. Commissioner Bernard, did you want to bring something forward on that?
Yeah, on, Mr. Mayor, on item 3E3, let me make sure I get to the right page. 17. The only question that I would like to ask staff is, I see that it's an unpaid intern. Is there any opportunities for us to have them as paid interns?
Good morning.
Could you just identify yourself for the record?
James Green, Director of Palm Beach County Community Services Department. I'm joined here with Taruna Malhotra, who's the Assistant Director, and Helene Vitz, who's the
Thank you, Mr.
Assistant
Green.
County Manager. So there are opportunities if the institution will allow it. And so if that is the case, then we will certainly offer that. But many of the institutions will not allow paid internships because they're getting practical experience, and so we'll certainly continue to explore that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So I make a motion to approve item 3E3.
Second.
Okay, I have Commissioner Bernard's motion to approve 3E3 with a second by Vice Mayor Weiss. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that is approved 7-0. We'll now move on to 3E4.
Thank you, Mayor. I really asked to have this item pulled because I thought it was important to discuss it and to bring it in, also to inform the public as to what we're requesting, which is, this item is a requesting of an additional $20 million to be utilized for rental assistance. As you know, people have been impacted via COVID, but recently we've also become aware of people being displaced because of rental increases as well that are unsustainable for many of our folks that are just regular working people and can't afford $500 to $1,000 a month rent increases at one shot like that. So I appreciate that. I also want to point out, though, that since January 11th of 2021, the county has helped disperse over $51 million in rental assistance. That's over almost 7,000 unduplicated households. And then since March 18th of 2020, over $100 million in direct assistance to folks in our household. The last point I'll make is that unfortunately a lot of our apartment buildings and so forth are being bought up by investors from out the state, and wondering how much of this money that we're going to be able to allocate potentially is going to go and be sent right out of state, or it's going to come in here, we're going to pay for that. And I don't know if something that staff tracks, but I would be certainly interested if you did, how much is actually COVID related, how much is due to these increases that people can't afford. Is that something you can track?
So, yes, we are starting to put measures in place. Anecdotally, we're hearing a lot about significant increases in rent. And so we're putting provisions in place with our database to be able to track that. We can pull the data now, but we know that it is prevalent. We know that there are many seniors who are on fixed income who are unfortunately experiencing increases in rent, and we're doing everything we can to address it. And this, if it is awarded, will go a long way in providing additional support.
All right. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll move approval of item 3E4.
Okay, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Weiss to approve 3E4. I have a second by Commissioner Sacks. All in favor? All opposed? Show that as approved 7-0. That brings us now to 3H10. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For item 3H10, since this is such a complicated transaction, what I would like to do is, if it's possible for us to do a 2-week postponement of this item and to give us the opportunity to be brief on it. And so in that way, we can be brief and for it not to be on the consent agenda when it comes up in 2 weeks.
County Administrator, would delaying the review of this item for 2 weeks be an issue? Okay. I have a second by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor of postponing for 2 weeks? I see nobody against, so it'll pass 7-0. Thank you, and that item will be put off until our next meeting. Thank you. All right, that appears to be the end of our consent agenda, which brings us to something new for us, doing special presentations. And I will take the first one, and then we'll continue and in our old practice, going from one side to the other. Well, this is a good one to start with because we're going to be talking about Florida Bicycle Month, and in fact, I'll be getting some exercise on Friday and being out with our good friends at TPA, riding my bicycle, and hopefully make it back to the TPA after we start out. I've been assured that the bridge has been taken out of the course, so I should not have to walk home. Anyway, whereas Palm Beach County residents and visitors engage in bicycling as a viable and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent form of physical activity and recreation. And whereas the state of Florida officially recognizes March as Bicycle Month, and Palm Beach County and its municipalities recognize it locally. And whereas Florida Bicycle Month features a number of fitness opportunities and events for riders of all ages to enjoy during the month at various parks and locations throughout Palm Beach County. And whereas in recognition of Florida Bicycle Month, we are raising the awareness of bicycling and promoting physical activity and healthy lifestyles by elevating bicycling as a more widely accepted choice of transportation. And whereas the Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency plans and recommends projects to make bicycling more accessible and promotes comprehensive community education efforts aimed at improving bicycle safety. And whereas through these efforts, Palm Beach County now provides more than 255 miles of designated bicycle facilities, plans to add more than 600 miles of additional bicycle facilities, and continues to promote a network of safe and connected bicycle facilities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, assembled in regular session today, that we are declaring March 2022 Florida Bicycle Month. And before I allow Valerie to say a word on behalf of the TPA, I want to say that we are very excited about the idea of people getting out and enjoying our county, our city, but please do it safely. We are, an urbanized area, and there's responsibilities both on the part of the bicyclist and the motorist to be doing this safely. We have something called Vision Zero in this county. We are trying to make sure that our people, our residents, make it home at night. Please be careful and enjoy our cityscape. Valerie?
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to be here. This is Valerie Nielsen with the Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency. We plan, prioritize, and fund the transportation system in Palm Beach County, and we're excited to be here to collaboratively do that with the county, Palm Beach County Parks and Recs, Palm Beach County Engineering, and the Planning Department to create a more bicycle-friendly county and more bicycle-friendly communities, and working together to achieve our vision of a safe, efficient, and connected multimodal transportation system. So thank you so much for your collaboration. We hope to see you at our ride on Friday. And thank you to all the municipalities that are joining us this month and also doing a Bike Month proclamation. I think we're almost up to our goal of 15. So thank you, everyone. And will we do a group picture?
We're gonna do a
Great.
picture.
Will Parks and Rec and Engineering, if they're in the room, join us as well? Thank you.
Vice Mayor, would you get the next one up? And we're not going over any basketball bridges. That's right, that's right. Come on. All right, here we go.
through 13th at 2022 as Flood Awareness Week in Palm Beach County. Whereas Palm Beach County has experienced severe weather in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events resulting in flooding in both coastal and riverine areas, and this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas Palm Beach County is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program and Community Rating System, programs provide property owners with the opportunity to obtain federally backed mortgages, federal mitigation funding, and federally backed flood insurance at a significant discount. The programs also protect property owners and their properties against flood losses by utilizing higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential damage. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood, and whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents. The Florida Floodplain Managers Association has declared the week of March 7, 2022 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of March 2022, that March 7th through 13th, 2022 in Palm Beach County is now hereby proclaimed Flood Awareness Week. And do we have some recipients here? Oh, great, from what do we have? Resilience, engineering, water, PZ&B, everybody. Yeah, comments. Somebody got to make a comment?
My name is John Blake. On behalf of the Building Division, I wish to thank the Commission for this proclamation, as it will bring great attention to the risk of flooding, flood damage, and loss. And this proclamation will assist us in mitigating those losses for the citizens of Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, while they're taking their picture, I have the honor of issuing a certificate of commendation to this young man over here, Erwin Lebo. And I say a young man because he's 100 years young. Erwin Lebo is from Boynton Beach, Florida. He's a decorated World War II fighter pilot who for nearly 30 years has dedicated his time to helping those less fortunate. He is the founder of Project Hope, which is Help Our Poor and Elderly, a program through the Albert Jewish Family Services of Palm Beach County. He has raised nearly $400,000 to combat food insecurity and assist those most in need throughout our county. He's been an emeritus member of Albert Jewish Family Service Board of Directors for over 30 years. This year, as I said, he is going to be celebrating his centennial, and we commend you for your lifelong commitment for helping others. And he said to me as he came up here, do I really only have 3 minutes? I said, for you, 4. Anyway, this is for you, and thank you so much for everything you do for our community. And would you like to say a word?
Yes. You said 4, Miss. Thank you, Mayor. You know, this is really an honor, not only for me, but for Albert Jewish Family and Children's Service, because when I got involved with the agency over 30 years ago, we had a very small budget and we helped few people. Now we help thousands of people every year, and I get the greatest kick out of raising money so that we can continue to help people in need. And I have to thank Mark and Zelda for setting me up for this, because I'm a ham. I like to get up in front and talk. Again, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to call up to the podium Nicole Bishop and Stephanie for the proclamation declaring April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Good morning. So it's my honor and pleasure to be here on behalf of our beloved Commissioner McKinley, who is in Tallahassee at the moment, and we have her here by remote. She's in Tallahassee fighting for our budget, fighting for our policy decisions in Tallahassee and as the legislature comes to the close. So I'm delighted to join her virtually and on her behalf to present this proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, declaring April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month uplifts year-round efforts that call attention to the prevalence of sexual violence and its widespread impacts while promoting responses that lead to positive cultural change. And whereas the goal of this month is to raise public awareness about sexual violence, provide education on individual and societal impacts, and encourage community-level responses to sexual violence. And whereas the theme of this year's Sexual Assault Awareness Month campaign in Florida, Centering Survivors in Community, Care, and Change, focuses on holistic support of survivors, recognizing that victim experiences and needs vary, and so too should the assistance provided. Whereas Palm Beach County Victim Services and Certified Rape Crisis Center is Palm Beach County's certified sexual assault program that provides confidential, trauma-focused services to survivors of sexual violence, regardless of when the victimization occurs and whether the assault is reported to law enforcement. And whereas addressing sexual violence involves citizen engagement and action, when the efforts of our local sexual assault program are amplified, we are promoting our community's message to survivors that services are available. Each of us must be part of victim-centered change that improves systemic responses to all survivors. And whereas residents are urged to join advocates and community members in raising awareness about sexual violence, centering the needs of those who have been harmed and advancing equitable support for every survivor, each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County that the 8th day of March 2022 and that April 2022 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Commissioner McKinley.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Kerner, for standing in for me today. I appreciate that. And we have one of the best sexual assault response teams in all of the state of Florida. It's an award-winning program and something I am very proud to have helped begin in our county. And just want to thank them for all their services, and also to thank all of the survivors for having the courage to come forward and seek help, and to let everybody out there know that these services are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our county, and that's something we should be proud of. Thank you.
Turn it over to Stephanie.
Thank you. On behalf of Nicole Bishop, Division Director for Victim Services, she couldn't be here today, and her team, we just want to thank the Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and Administrator Baker for all your support to the Victim Services Program. And also a special thank you to Commissioner McKinley for sponsoring this proclamation this year for the 8th year in a row. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, otherwise known as SAAM, SAM. And the theme this year for SAM is Centering Survivors in Care, Community, and Change. And the goal of SAM is to raise public awareness about sexual assault, sexual violence, and educate our communities on how to prevent it. The attention for the month of April generates an opportunity to energize and expand those efforts. We can all be a voice to change the culture to prevent sexual violence. Supporting survivors includes access to trauma-informed healthcare, culturally responsive therapy and advocacy, and timely information about their rights, among many other trauma-supporting services. The message to survivors must be clear. When you come forward for help and support, it will be available. Now I'd like to turn it over to Carol to just discuss some of the events during the month of April. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you for recognizing us, and thank you, Mayor Weinwarth and the whole Board of County Commissioners. So because it's April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we have a host of activities planned, and we want to personally invite each of you to our Day of Action, Field of Hope, which is on April 5th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Please join us as we stand together 604 strong. We are inviting all of you in this chamber to come out and be a part of this so we can support survivors in our Field of Hope, to circle them and to let them know that we care. The event is going to be at Palm Beach County Victim Services SART Center, 4210 North Australian. Brianna is going to hand out some information to you with the event and some little swag, and also some additional information in the bags. So on this day, please share this information with your contacts. We want to represent, 604 represent the number of adult survivors and also child victims that we assisted in 2021. It is so important that this message is there and it is clear so survivors know that we care. We also have on April 6th, Start by Believing Day. It's a global campaign to transform the way we respond to sexual assault. It also prepares professionals and loved ones to appropriately respond to sexual assault disclosures so that victims can get the support that they need. We are asking again you as a community to sign a pledge form, which is in each of your bag, to show your support, and take a picture so we can send it out to survivors that they know. April 12th is story time. We're partnering with the library system for children ages 3 to 5, and they're going to have a story time with a book reminding children of the importance of being careful while they're online. Online safety for our young people is very important. We have our teal ribbon in each of your bag. You have a teal ribbon, and it is April 15. Join us as we wear our teal ribbon in observance of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you. Thank you for hearing us. Thank you for supporting us, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, my fellow commissioners. My name is Maria Sachs, and I'm very proud to stand here today to proclaim that the entire month of March 2022 as Rita Thrasher Month. Rita, would you come on up and join us, please? You look lovely as always. Whereas Rita Thrasher is a mother of 3 daughters, 2 with different mental illnesses. Both are deceased. Her daughter today, Marla, her 3rd daughter, is here accompanying her today. And whereas Rita Thrasher is a retired teacher who is instrumental and a champion in fostering education and awareness of mental health and mental health issues in our community. And whereas Rita Thrasher organized and chaired the Florida Association of Alternative School Educators, founding member and current president of Boca Raton's Promise, the Alliance for Youth. Rita Thrasher organized Middle School Friday Friends at Sugar Sand Park in Boca Raton Middle School. Rita, you assisted Elbert Jewish Family Services to introduce mental health first aid trainings in Palm Beach County. More than 8,000 people have been trained because of your leadership. Organizer and current chair of the Palm Beach County Action Alliance for Mental Illness, Rita organized Love Well creative arts performances in 7 Palm Beach County schools. Currently engaged in leading 4 Action Alliance priorities: faith leadership, LGBTQ+3 youth leadership. Rita, you are organizer and host of 4 annual Palm Beach County Education Exchanges for Action Alliance, and you secured Hospital Foundation grant for We Dine Together youth leadership model at the Boca Raton Community School. You know, we give many awards up here for people who do great things. But Rita Thrasher is a person that I have known for many years, who rose from tragedy of losing 2 daughters and became an action leader. Rita Thrasher, for me, is someone who comforts. Comforts. Boy, we need that, don't we? After 2 years of what we've been through and the mental health needs of all of our children and our adults, I want to thank you, Rita, for your comfort for all of us here. Regardless of who we are, where we live, Rita Thrasher has always been there for all of us. And if I had all the people you helped up here, we wouldn't have enough room, Mayor. So, Rita Thrasher, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to many, many more years of your action and all that you have done for the children and the people of Palm Beach County. Let's hear it for Rita Thrasher.
Thank you, Commissioner Sachs. It is with humility and gratitude that I accept this recognition for 22 years of service. 11 of these years were as a teacher, as Commissioner Sachs mentioned, and a volunteer while I was caregiving 2 daughters with mental illnesses. I have worked with many caregivers who buried their loved ones. Volunteers and caregivers are among my friends and my colleagues, some in these seats today. Many of them are working with me and have worked with me for 15 or more years in building Boca Raton's promise and keeping its promises, and in our Palm Beach County Action Alliance. Indeed, volunteers and caregivers are the true heroes in Palm Beach County. These organizations that I'm privileged to share are led by extremely capable people, respectable people. And there's one that's just arrived from a harrowing experience that I'd like to invite to stand here with me today for just a moment, because he deserves it. Seth Bernstein, would you please come up and stand beside me? We planned this many years ago, that there should be conversations here in Palm Beach County at the county level. This guy was living in Boca at that time. He's since moved to various locations in Palm Beach County and stands with me today to mention that things need to be done. Things are being done. And today is the day to celebrate them with help from you, Commissioner Sachs. Last month, come on up here. You know, at my age, I always need someone to lean on. He's one, always there. Last month, I moved to West Palm Beach to be near my daughter, Marla, who has provided me with my own lovely home and office. And as I approach retirement, I will continue to support Boca Raton's Promise and the Action Alliance as they reorganize to keep 5 promises. Seth, you were there when we helped to shape them. A lot of years ago. Yes. I will continue to support the Promise and the Action Alliance with these promises. First of all, we're so proud of the mental health first aid, right? Yes. And another promise, we're going to complete the LGBTQ3 task force study that we started a year ago. 2, we're going to encourage and support youth leaders, and we're going to follow the youth leaders. 3, we're going to identify and support all of the faith-based mental health needs. And 4, identify and provide for caregiver needs. We know about that, don't we, Seth? And we're going to support and increase educational exchanges between the educational organizations. Palm Beach County needs us to keep these promises. I'm committed, and I know you're committed. And my daughter, I want to thank you very much, Marla. Marla is an incentive. And I have a personal commitment. I am studying compassion and choices movements throughout the nation, or the end-of-life planning. You know, I believe we should face death, not fear it. And commissioners, thank you for listening, and thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Marla, why don't you come on up and join us for the picture, and anyone else here who's on behalf of Rita Thrasher Month.
As they take their picture, I just want to say, when I first went into public office in the city of Boca Raton, Rita was one of the first people who came into my office, and you don't say no to Rita. She is a force to be reckoned with, and she has always maintained that we have to maintain a conversation so that mental illness is not something we hide in the back room. And Rita, I thank you again for everything you've done in this regard.
Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners. Just a side note, today we're celebrating International Women's Day, and I can't think of a better day to do that as we recognize Ms. Thrasher and to follow Ms. Bonet. But it's my honor today to do the Government Finance Professionals Week proclamation, and as the woman that's always asking about the dollars, I think it's sort of apropos. So if Sherry Brown, the Director of the Office of Financial Management and Budget, and her team would come down here, I'm happy to share this proclamation with you all. So, proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners, Palm Beach County, Florida, declaring March 14th through 18th, 2022 as Government Finance Professionals Week. I'm going to read the whole thing, okay?
Perfect.
All right.
You like it.
Whereas government finance professionals serve their organizations by managing day-to-day accounting operations, establishing financial policies, and performing other important fiscal roles that improve the safety, livability, and vitality of our local community, and whereas government finance professionals are dedicated to providing fiscal stewardship and accountability to taxpayers and elected officials by safekeeping public funds, and whereas government finance professionals provide financial transparency through timely publication of budget information and financial statements that meet the highest standards of governmental accounting, and whereas government finance professionals strive to remain true to the values that drive their work as public servants. And whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association, say that 3 times fast, FGFOA, is an association founded in 1937 that serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges and universities, special districts, and private firms. And whereas the Palm Beach chapter of the Florida Government Finance Officers Association serves more than 300 professionals from county and city governments, the school district, and private firms, and whereas members of the FGFOA adhere to legal, moral, and professional standards of conduct in the fulfillment of professional responsibilities as set forth in the Code of Ethics, and whereas the FGFOA and its Palm Beach chapter provide opportunities through education, networking, leadership, and information, and whereas Government Finance Professionals Week, sponsored by the FGFOA and all of its governmental member organizations, is a week-long series of activities aimed at recognizing the government finance professionals and the vital service they provide to our state, county, and community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session this 8th day of March 2022, that March 14th through 18th, 2022 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Government Finance Professionals Week.
Thank you, Commissioners, for recognizing our finance professionals. You know, we have finance professionals in all of our county departments and our constitutional offices. Paul Kaczynski, Tracy Ramsey's here from the clerk's office as they're finishing up our annual report. You know, Lisa kicked off our 2023 budget, you know, back in November, and now departments are working on it. We always tell our new budget analyst that they can go any place in the county if you start an OFMB, because we look at Virginia Baker, our county administrator, was a budget analyst at one point, and I've got Stephanie, Jeremy, and Taruna from different departments that all started in OFMB. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Bernard, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I make this presentation, I'd like to bring Christopher Irizarry to please come forward to say a word.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Just wanted to take a moment. I humbly serve as the Chief Executive Officer at Found Care. It's a federally qualified health center here in Palm Beach County. Found Care was founded 20 years ago on the shoulders of an extraordinary woman. And as we celebrate International Women's Day, Yolette, I love to recognize and I'm so grateful to this, the greatest county, in my opinion, in the state of Florida, to recognize someone who came here and on her shoulders took on Found Care as an idea, as a concept, as a transition from the community, from the comprehensive AIDS program to a federally qualified health center. The journey wasn't easy. There were a lot of challenges, a lot of roadblocks. The mountains were high. But she never, ever, ever quit. She worked through so many challenges over the 20 years to get the organization to where it is. And again, challenge after challenge, she persevered through everything. And that, on all days, International Women's Day, you realize the perseverance of women, the strength of women. And I'm glad to take over after she's done all the hard work, to be quite honest with you, because I don't know that I have the strength that she had or the vision that she had to get Found Care to where it is today. So I'm very glad to introduce Ms. Yolette Bonet to receive a proclamation from Commissioner Bernard.
Healthcare should always be a right and not a privilege. For 20 years, Yolette Bonet fought hard to ensure that in addition to the residents of Palm Beach County having a right to health care, that they also received quality health care. Therefore, today, I proudly present, in honor of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, Yolette Bonet this certificate, and it reads, "This certificate of recognition presented to Yolette Bonet for her 20 years of service as CEO of Found Care. Yolette Bonet was at the helm when Found Care became the first and largest federally qualified nonprofit health center in West Palm Beach. Found Care, now an internationally recognized community health center, has 7 locations that provide all-inclusive healthcare services, including COVID-19 testing and vaccines, and schedules over 156,000 patient visits. This certificate is presented this 8th day of March 2022 by the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to take a minute to thank Commissioner Bernard and the Commissioner. Ms. Baker, as well as the Department of Community Service. I'm sure they are very happy to see me go, which means James Green and Turona. I won't take much time, but I just want to say, because I see some young ladies here, I just want to say girl power, girl rocks. Thank you.
All right, that's the end of our special presentations today. The meeting's starting to feel a little bit more like a normal meeting again. I think it's really nice to be able to do this and again, recognize a lot of our residents, and this has been terrific. Commissioner?
Mayor, normally we're hearing a presentation from Dr. Alonso, and she is not here today, but I would like to give a shout out to her today because it is her birthday. So Dr. Alonso, we hope you're having a great day.
We are happy to celebrate your birthday with you not here. And I'm saying that with love. Okay, while we're moving on, I'm going to read into the record an item on 5A1, which is boilerplate, which is legalese, which has to be done for a shade meeting that we're going to be holding at noon today. So, staff recommends a motion to commence a private attorney-client session in the case of In Re National Prescription Opiate Litigation, case number MDL 2804, the Northern District of Ohio, and Palm Beach County versus Purdue Pharma et al., case number 1:18-46121, Northern District of Ohio. This session will be held during the Board of County Commissioners meeting today, March 8th at noon in the McEady Conference Room at 301 North Olive Avenue on the 12th floor of this building in West Palm Beach. And the following persons will attend the meeting with the members of the Board of County Commissioners who are present today. Virginia Baker, County Administrator; Denise Kaufman, County Attorney; David Oddie, Chief Assistant County Attorney; Shayna Sachs, Outside Counsel; and Hunter Skrilnick, Outside Counsel. Pursuant to Section 286.011:8, Florida statutes, the entire attorney-client session will be recorded by a certified court reporter who shall record the discussions and proceedings, the names of all persons present at any time, and the names of all persons speaking. No portion of the session shall be off the record. The court reporter's notes shall be transcribed and filed with the clerk and shall be made part of the public record upon conclusion of the pending litigation. I would like a motion to approve the shade meeting at 12 noon.
Motion to commence.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Weiss. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? All opposed? We have a 7-0 vote, and we will again have that meeting with Ms. Kaufman at noon. Thank you, everybody. We now move on to item 5A2. Ms. Kaufman is back on the agenda, looking for some more people. Do I have a motion to approve her? We have all had a conversation. Commissioner Marino made a motion to approve the, it will be 5A2, A and B. Do I have a second? Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. As we approve this item, I want to thank Ms. Denise Kaufman for bringing this item, but also would like to recognize our Chief Assistant County Attorney, Mr. David Audie, for his hard work and dedication to leading the litigation department. So I know that there's a lot of late nights, but at least you're going to get help in the future. So David, thanks for all your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard has made the motion. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. Seeing no further discussion, we do have discussion. Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I'm just, okay, very good. And this is 5A2. If I could, with your permission, if I could just ask a couple of questions of Denise.
Sure,
even at this
absolutely.
time. Thank you. Denise? How many attorneys does Broward County have?
Broward County has 48 attorneys.
How many do we have in our legal team?
We have 24, and right now, including David, we have 9 litigators.
Has there been a sort of a rush to litigation in this county in the last couple of years to warrant the addition of new litigators in our team?
There's been a couple of things going on. There has been an increase in litigation. Primarily, the courts are trying to move their cases along. They've changed how they're doing case management. So whereas we used to have one jury trial in, maybe 6 months, and now we're having jury trials every single month. In addition, we actually have not added any numbers to our litigation staff or to our county attorney's office since 1995. We actually added some, but then in 1997, 1998, but then we took them back away when the economy went down. So we have not staffed up. We are at the same number as we had in 1995. So we're looking at a lot of challenges right now, and I'm very grateful, first of all, to Mr. Adi because he has put in some superhuman efforts. And this is an item that Denise Marie and I discussed. This is a long time in coming. We wanted to study the situation and see if there was any way that we could manage it. And I really want to thank the county administrator for seeing fit to support this item, and we're very pleased to see it come forth. I will also mention that we're very closely watching the sovereign immunity bill. If that ends up passing in its present form, which is moving sovereign immunity from $200,000 per claim to $400,000 per claim and $600,000 for multiple claims, that will also have an impact on us.
Just want to thank you and your team for all you've done up to now. I can see that you've been short-staffed, and I hope that the addition of these litigators, but I look forward to revisiting this issue in the near future if we need to supplement our legal team. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me this.
Thank you, Commissioner Sachs. Commissioner McKinley, would you like to ask a question or make a comment?
It was just a comment, Mayor, and thank you for recognizing me. I just want to add to Denise Kaufman's comments about sovereign immunity. My colleagues on the dais right now know that nothing is over in session until that handkerchief hits the floor on sine die. That we're hoping that sovereign immunity legislation is dead, but there's big differences between that legislation and what's being offered. And top of that, between all of the super preemption this year that would allow local businesses to sue us if they claim economic losses because we've passed an ordinance, and all of the COVID-related causes of action, this legislature, as business-friendly as it claims to be, is certainly being a big friend to the trial courts and opening up all sorts of causes of action and putting local governments in precarious positions. So I'm happy to support this request from Ms. Kaufman today. I just want to thank her team for hanging in there since the 1990s. Glad we're finally coming around to helping you out.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Mr. Adi, did you want to make a comment?
No, I just want to say thanks to the board for
microphone.
Okay, I just want to say thanks to the commissioners and Ms. Baker for making this a reality for us today. We have had our struggles, and the team has been very resilient. They've put in long hours and really been committed. We have some very young, bright stars, but we just need the additional help. So we think this is a great step in the right direction, and we appreciate the help.
Thank you very much. And we certainly are very appreciative of the professionalism of your department and of the attorneys that have been putting in long hours, and we recognize that we need to give you a break, and certainly I think this will pass unanimously. And with that, I'm going to call a vote. All in favor, all opposed, unanimously approved.
And thanks to the commission, the county attorney, most importantly.
Okay, we're going to move forward now to item 5B1, Office of Resilience.
Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and move this item. This is on a budget amendment for an award of $800,000 to be able to do our vulnerability assessment and resilient action plan. So I'll move approval.
Okay, so we have a motion by Vice Mayor Weiss to approve 5B1, A, B, and C. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor? All opposed? It passes 7-0. You may go home now.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now on to 5C1. We're about to purchase some land. So we will need, yes, Commissioner
May I
Marino.
make a motion to approve a purchase and sale agreement with the property owner to acquire a .20 acre parcel of land located at 9363 Old Dixie Highway, Lake Park, Florida, for $295. This will help us with our Congress Road extension.
Okay, 5C1 being moved by Commissioner Marino. Just for a point of order, in accordance with Palm Beach County Ordinance 2019-38, a supermajority vote of 5 votes will be required for the purchase of real property. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Sacks. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? All opposed? Show that as being approved 7-0. Thank you. We move on to one of my favorite items on the agenda. This is the Weinroth item where I rail against our friends up in Tallahassee. Commissioner McKinley, why don't you tell our friends up in Tallahassee we're tired of going through the motions here. Laura Beebe has better things to do than come up here, sit down, and me to make or one of us to make a motion. But pursuant to changes in Chapter 332 Florida statutes effective October 1st, 2020, a governing body of a commercial service airport may not approve purchases or contractual services in excess of Category 5 threshold of $325,000. We have an item in front of us for $6.9 million. Do I have a motion to approve 5D1, A, B, and C?
I move approval of 5D1, A, B, and C.
Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Sacks. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, 7-0. Go back to your airport.
Thank you.
Fly, right. Commissioner Marino, your light's still on. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
I apologize. I'll turn it right off.
Okay, very good. Okay, we are now on 5E1, Housing and Economic Development. Anybody looking for a presentation? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve item 5E1, A, B, C, D, and E.
Commissioner Bernard has made the motion to approve 5E1, A, B, C, D, and E. I have a second by Vice Mayor Weiss. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion. All in favor, all opposed? That is approved 7-0. Thank you, everybody. We're now moving on to public safety, 5F1. I see our good friend, Mr. Bonlaren, has come up to join us. And Stephanie, nice to see you again, too.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Joining us today, in addition to Stephanie, also Eric Stern from the school district. We thank Eric for being here. He has been a longtime administrator of our school safety driving instruction program, and Mike Jones from the County Attorney's Office as well. We have a brief presentation, if you'd like for us to go through that very quickly for you, if that's okay.
Commissioner Kerner, I see your light on. What's your pleasure?
Sorry, Mayor, that was just in reference to comments by members of the public.
Do you have anything?
No, I just want to make sure that I got it on the record when the time came.
Okay, very good.
So we'll do a brief presentation. You have the PowerPoint in front of you, and it's also on the board. Just to share with you briefly, in Palm Beach County, we've had in place a driver safety education program. The Florida legislature authorized this under Statute 318, known as the Dory Schlossberg Driver Education Safety Act. Our county was unfortunately the scene of a horrific accident many decades ago. One of our former legislators, Irv Schlossberg, and current legislators, Representative Schlossberg King, lost their daughter and sister respectively in a tragic car accident in the southern end of this county. They made it their commitment to do everything they could to provide the resources to help educate our young people so that they had a better understanding of the rules of the road and opportunities for us to continue to work with our school district, both public and private schools, in order to do this.
The legislature authorized the collection of $5 as part of moving infractions, and in 2003, locally, that was here in place and also in counties throughout the state of Florida. What that does is it allows us to collect those funds, of which about 93% go to our public schools, 7% are reserved for our private schools, in order to allow them to have driver education programs in their respective institutions. To date, we've got about 3,000 students that go through this program. Every year, we have 4 schools that provide these during the day. We have 14 schools that do this in the evenings, and then we have 5 programs that do that during the summer, in addition to 1 private school, the Benjamin School, that offers it at their school. And you'll see we'll have a separate item on this that we'll discuss in a little bit more detail. But the reality is that those dollars are available to those private schools for them to do it. Many of those students from the private schools take advantage of the program at our public school system and do that during the summer and some of the after-school programs. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Todd. So just to kind of go over a little bit about the ordinance. So Todd mentioned the statute, which basically sets the $5 that the county can collect. We have an ordinance in place that's called the Driver Education Safety Trust Fund. It basically provides for how these funds are distributed to both public and non-public schools. This ordinance has been in place since 2003. We are not recommending any changes at this time to the ordinance, but it does require grant procedures, program procedures, and how the grant funds are going to be administered. It also allows us to designate a grant program administrator, which the school district has been since 2003 because they understand what requirements are needed, and they also offer the program within their schools. And then, of course, it requires BCC final approval of the document. So really the purpose of today's item is to bring these very outdated agreements up to date with new language that is required, and also, have the ability to grant those funds to both the school district as well as Benjamin School, which has been a receiver of these funds since 2010. And any other non-public school that wants to apply for these funds is able to do so. So this is the criteria to be eligible for any grant funds if you're a non-public school. 1, you have to be a nonprofit organization. You have to use the funds to enhance driver education programming. You have to actually have a program in place for a number of years just to show that you're able to spend the funds in accordance with the state statutes as well as our grant program procedures. And then, of course, the Safety Council of Palm Beach County would provide the behind-the-wheel training. As Todd mentioned, the Florida statute requires 30% of a student's time in the program must be behind the wheel. And then also just adhering to the content of the Florida High School course description. So what we're recommending today, like I said before, is just approval of the 3 agreements, which is 2 with the school district that is granting them the ability to be the grant administrator. They, like I said before, has been a grant administrator since 2003. The second agreement with the school district is basically a grant acceptance agreement, accepting the funds from the county. And then the third agreement is the agreement with the Benjamin School, who's been a recipient since 2010. But again, we're trying to bring us into compliance with the statute and have an agreement in place with them to accept the funds. And then finally, the grant program procedures, which have been in place since 2003, but we're just refreshing the board to make sure that you're aware of those program procedures for this trust fund. And just a couple of other things. I think Todd covered all those, but that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Oh.
One other quick item, just to point out, Mayor, I know that this was an item that you brought up about a year or so ago. We saw another similar incident in the south end of our county that saw the tragic loss of life of some other young people on the road. And you requested at a board meeting, are there some things that we can do, continue to do, to try to educate our young people on the safety on our roadways? And Eric and I and Stephanie got together and said, what more can we do? And we've got funds here. And what this is going to allow is just some continued flexibility for the school district to hopefully put in some additional opportunities to reach out to more kids, more students, to provide those opportunities. I did want to address one other issue. I did see that an email came in this morning to the Board of County Commissioners from a state organization that expressed some concern. This is the organization on the Fines and Fees Justice Center, and expressed some concern about the addition of additional fees onto moving violations. And while we absolutely understand, those concerns that they bring forward in that, and we do that, and we're very cognitive of those things that we advocate in Tallahassee, too, to make sure that we're not doing things to unduly burden individuals. This is a fee that's been in place. It's not something we're asking you to put in place today. It's already in place, and the legislature already granted that authority. But I will tell you that we will continue to do what we can to identify and work with you if there are things that we think are making it more difficult for individuals in our population because of fees and fines and those things. We'd be happy to work with the board to continue to identify some of those opportunities for you, but we believe that this has been a very worthy and good program, and look forward to the continued partnership with the school district. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Monlaron. And just a comment, this morning we did a proclamation for Rita Thrasher, who is a woman who had two daughters who she lost because of mental illness, and she put her life on hold and has been dealing with that, and as we heard before, has made great inroads into mental health awareness. I think we all know that Irv Schlossberg and his surviving daughter, Emily, probably would not have gone into public service if it had not been for the death of their daughter and sister Dory. They turned that tragedy into something very positive, and I know Irv's main focus when he was up in Tallahassee was safety, and I'm certainly very, very happy to see we continuing that, and I think $5 per ticket is a small price to pay to ensure that our children are being properly schooled in how to use that vehicle that they're being allowed to use now that they have a license. Commissioner Bernard, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Todd, can you, when did the legislature allow us to levy the $5?
The statute was passed in 2002. They made those changes to 318.1215.
Okay, so
20 years ago.
So for 20 years we could have levied those $5. Is that correct?
They have been levied for that period of time.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
they have been levied, and so what did they do with the funds?
So actually, Eric is with us from the school district, and just so you know, the county serves as almost a pass-through for this particular program. Those dollars come into trust fund, and then our grant administrator has been the school district, and also through agreements with the private schools. So I'll let Eric explain some of the programming.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for that question, Commissioner Bernard. So when we received the funding, and we received it in quarterly payments, so 4 payments per year, we take that money and provide it for basically three ways. It goes to paying for the behind-the-wheel training for students. It goes to paying extra duty days and times for teachers to do the extended day program and the after-school program, and then if we have to purchase any instructional materials relating to the program.
Okay, so we're not adding additional $5, or so it's something that we're already collecting?
Yes, sir. We are already collecting these dollars. We're not asking for any additional funding with this particular item at all. It's just a re-up of our interlocal agreement with the school board, and then hopefully providing a little bit additional flexibility to do some more with some of the dollars that they have to expand some of the programming that we're doing with the school district.
Okay.
Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that this is, I remember when Representative Schlossberg worked on this and did an amazing, it was before I was in the State House. I was so proud that he did this. And this has been going on for 20 years. So, Eric, I'd like to sort of pitch hit with my colleague, and that is, is there 3,000 students in our school district that are using these, or that the school district is using these funds to reach out to all the students? And is it only 3,000 right now that are taking advantage of this, this wonderful fund?
Yeah, we average about, might have to be recognized? Okay. We average about 3,000 students per year that enroll in driver education. It's a choice. So students take other electives, and these about 3,000 we've averaged that kids want to take the driver education program with our teachers in our schools.
It's a known fact that when a student takes a course such as this one, which is free, their insurance, their auto insurance is going to be minimized once they're ready to get a driver's license. Can we do something to encourage more students? There's a lot of money in this fund, a lot of money. And 67 counties, I believe all 67, contribute to this fund every year. I would like to see our school district do more to address the needs of all of our students. Sometimes an elective is like, I really don't need it, but I know that this fund also provides these cars, virtual cars that they can use to. Could we have Mr. Mayor, with your permission, could we have maybe a report, or you could do it to all of us, you don't need to come forward, but do to all of us as to what we're doing to make this more accessible and available to all the public school students, because it works. My kids took it, and I almost lost one, but this works. Secondly, there are other private schools, parochial schools, or 501c3 maybe, nonprofit, and I wonder if we could also, as part of your report back, see how many of those schools are going to participate in this program. This is a winner of a program. And I also want to, I wonder if you could include that in your report back to us, how many parochial schools, religious schools, charter schools who qualify are also using this wonderful program. And lastly, I want to congratulate Representative Schlossberg. After he did this bill, he then passed the seatbelt as a primary offense. People don't realize how much he's done for all of us, especially for our children as a result of that tragedy. So thank you, Representative Schlossberg. Thank you, all of you, for coming here. And thank you, Todd, for making this available to the Benjamin School.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kerner.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Sachs, for those comments and recognition of Representative Schlossberg's service. Also, I believe our dear friend, Representative Schlossberg King, was instrumental in getting the texting while driving as a primary offense, which obviously was great public policy. So I don't have any comments beyond that. I certainly support this item, and I'm very thankful for Mr. Stern's work on our behalf at this school district. But I did want to make reference, Todd already discussed it a little bit, but we were delivered a letter from Sarah Kocher, and we'll receive and file it.
Very good, Mayor.
And I'll move 5F1, A, B, C, and D for approval.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner, second by Vice Mayor Weiss, to approve 5F1, A, B, C, and D. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that's approved unanimously, 7-0. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
All right, takes us now to 5G1. This is Planning and Zoning and Building. This is a result of the foreclosure crisis waning, thankfully, and if nobody wants to have a presentation, staff is recommending a motion to approve a preliminary reading and to advertise for public hearing on March 22nd, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Weiss, second by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, all opposed. It is approved. Okay, we're going to recess as the Board of County Commissioners now and reconvene or convene as the Environmental Control Board. We have item 6A1. Staff is recommending a motion to approve a preliminary reading and advertise for public hearing on March 22nd at 9:30 a.m. an ordinance which. Do we need to have a presentation on this, or can I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sachs, second by Vice Mayor Weiss, and this is to approve the motion, the preliminary reading and advertisement again for March 22nd at 9:30 a.m. All in favor? All opposed? It is approved, 7-0. Thank you for coming up.
Wish Dr. Alonso a happy birthday too.
All right, now we're going to move on to our add-on. We have a board appointment before us. This is, well, no, let's see. Oh, yeah, we're going to reconvene. Okay, we're no longer the Environmental Control Board. We're back on as the Board of County Commissioners. All right. We have item 7A1, which was an add-on. This is a appointment that we have two candidates for to assume a seat on the Healthcare District of Palm Beach County. It's a 4-year term. Since we have two candidates and we have a split in our nominations, I'm going to call for a roll call on this for either Dr. Teresa Johnson or Erica Whitfield, member of our Palm Beach Board of the School Board. All right. Clerk, would you please call? Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping we could use a process whereby we nominate an individual, and anyone can nominate them, and then we can vote on it that way.
All right. I was going to assume that we would.
I have a question first.
Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we do the nomination, I have a couple questions for staff that I'd like to ask on this item.
Please.
I see that in the memo that we received on February 28th, that staff is advancing two names. Did we get additional applications, or what's the process in terms of how did we get these two names?
So we had an opportunity from a staff side, this is a seat that we have on the Healthcare District Board, which the qualifications for this particular one is that it must be an elected official. So in the process of the last few months or so plus, Corey Nearing, who was a former elected official in West Palm Beach, served in that capacity. His term came open, and we tried to find an opportunity for another elected official to serve in that capacity. We met with a number of different elected officials that, some who had expressed interest to us about it, some that commissioners had asked us to explore some of those names of some additional elected officials. And at the end, from a staff perspective, we thought that we had two candidates that really rose to the top that we thought presented, some outstanding qualifications that we thought would be very good for that position. And we thought that particularly the issues that we thought were important for this particular seat were someone that really understood some of the issues related to mental health and mental health advocacy, real strong community service background, and therefore we put these two names forward in that memo to the Board of County Commissioners.
Can you tell us the names of the people who submitted their intentions for this position?
Well, we had a few folks that did it. Some of them, I don't know that they submitted their names for specifically for consideration, but I think some of them, were calling in terms of inquiry about the seat, wanting to know more information about it, wanting to get a little bit more idea about what some of the qualifications were. But these were the only two that we had formal applications that we have in.
Can you tell us who submitted their intentions for this potential position?
I can share with you some of the group that we spoke to and a number of the officials that we talked to. We spoke to Alex Ayala, another member of the school board. We spoke to Joel Flores, who is a elected official, a mayor in Palm Beach County. We spoke with Tai Pensarga, who is a county commissioner or city commissioner in the city of Boynton Beach. And and then we spoke to Mark Marciano, who is a commissioner in the city of Palm Beach Gardens.
So did they get the chance to submit an application? What's the process for those individuals that you didn't submit? Did they submit an application?
No, those other individuals did not submit an application.
How would they know to submit an application?
We had conversations with them. I think some of them we felt that, through those discussions, they were just kind of feeling out what the role was. So we didn't necessarily ask them to submit the formal application for this. We thought that the two that we provided were of the ones that we spoke to, really kind of in line with what we thought would be in the best interest of the county for that role and that position on the Healthcare District Board.
But is it the staff who determines the role, or is it the commission who's supposed to make that decision?
No, this is ultimately the commission, and the commission certainly has the opportunities to submit additional names if there are any additional names. So by all means, you're not limited to these two that are on this list. If there are additional names,
But you
we can
didn't give us
certainly
the
do that.
opportunity to vet those other additional names. Did you give us the opportunity to vet those additional individuals who are interested?
Not through this formal process, Commissioner.
Okay.
Commissioner, did you want to take any action?
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Teresa Johnson.
I have a nomination of Teresa Johnson. Do I have any further nominations?
I will nominate Erica Whitfield.
We have a nomination for Erica Whitfield. Do we have any further nominations? Seeing no further nominations, I'm going to say the nominations are closed. We are now going to have a roll call. And Commissioner McKinley is also going to be part of the roll call.
Commissioner Marino,
Erica Whitfield.
Vice Mayor Weiss,
Teresa Johnson.
Commissioner Kerner,
That was Johnson.
okay. Mayor Weinroth,
Whitfield.
Commissioner Sacks,
Erica Whitfield?
Commissioner McKinley,
Whitfield.
Commissioner Bernard.
Teresa Johnson.
Can you give us the tally, please?
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to redo that then. I misunderstood the direction. Okay, Commissioner Marino.
Whitfield.
Whitfield. Okay, Vice Mayor Weiss,
Johnson.
Commissioner Kerner,
Johnson.
okay. Mayor Weinroth,
Whitfield.
Commissioner Sacks,
Whitfield?
Commissioner McKinley,
Whitfield.
and Commissioner Bernard.
Teresa Johnson.
Okay, it looks like congratulations to Erica Whitfield. She was appointed.
Very good, thank you. Again, congratulations, Erica Whitfield, and thank you very much, Dr. Johnson, for submitting your name.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
we're going to
Mayor,
move on to
Mr. Mayor,
board. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bernard.
Just a quick comment. I'd like for us to really have a formal process to really determine who's going to serve on the Healthcare District Board. I just think that, we should be made aware of everyone who has an intention for that position. So in that way, we're making the decision and not staff to make that decision. If there's an application, let everyone submit an application, and for us to make that decision, but not staff to choose the two people that they want to submit to us.
Thank you. Mr. Monlaren, was this advertised?
In terms of,
How is this information disseminated out so, as Commissioner Bernard says, everybody who has an interest would know that there's an availability of this position?
yeah, I mean, we don't put out a formal advertisement for this, and from that perspective, I mean, a lot of it is mostly through word of mouth and the opportunities when they open up, similar to, I think, openings on our other boards that we have that exist. But we're happy to go back, and staff will look at, whether there's some better ways that we can improve process and create some additional opportunities. So we'll take those comments back, and I know that.
Yeah, I
we'll
think
work
a
with
more
the-
formalized process probably would be more appropriate. Ms. Baker?
We do have a formalized process for almost all of our boards. Each board has designated type seats, and sometimes they're designated for specific entities to make recommendations, and we normally follow that formalized process. In this particular case, we will look at this, go back, we'll talk to the board, get input from you, and formalize this process for the Healthcare district. But there is formalized processes for our recommendations coming to the board.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Commissioner Marino?
Thank you. I do want to say that I had, I think, 3 conversations with Todd about this and had given him some names and had talked to some other folks. So from my perspective, I think the process was done the way it should have been. And I mean, I know you talked about Mark Marciano, and then I had talked to Mark myself, but from his perspective, he's not an elected official after next year. So I did experience the process, I think, properly. So I just thank Todd for coming into the office and talking to me about this. And I know that there were some other names, and we had our discussions, and I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marino, and I'll just pipe in and say, we need to just allow the broadest audience to know about this. Obviously, our elected representatives, perhaps working through Mr. Radcliffe at the league, letting him then publicize it as they do other positions where they make recommendations to us. That might be an appropriate way of doing this. Commissioner Sachs.
So at the end of the day, I think that Ms. Baker has made it very clear that from now on, we will have this done as other boards are filled, and we will proceed from there. And I think I want to thank, I like transparency. I've said it before. And I think it's probably a lot less for you to do, Todd, right now. So I think we'll just proceed from there, as Ms. Baker said, from now on for these boards. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sachs. Commissioner McKinley?
Well, all the top line on the selection process, I just want to congratulate Ms. Whitfield. Prior to her election to the school district, she spent her entire professional career running the district's wellness program. I look forward to that kind of voice representing us on the healthcare district. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Commissioner Kerner?
Thank you, Mayor. And I do send congratulations to School Board Member Whitfield. I know she'll do great on the healthcare district, and she's very passionate. And I do appreciate some of the concerns that Commissioner Bernard had. But I did also want to say that I do also very much appreciate sort of the vetting and the one-on-one conversations that you had with multiple candidates, I believe, and in doing that due diligence on our behalf. Certainly, we should be entitled and are entitled to nominate and appoint whoever the board sees fit. But I did find value and appreciated the due diligence that was done behind the scenes. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to, first off, I want to congratulate Board Member Whitfield, and also want to thank Ms. Johnson for submitting the application. I happen to represent both of them as my constituents, so it was a tough decision today, but I believe both of them are very well qualified to represent this board, and would have been proud. And I'm proud of Ms. Whitfield and Ms. Johnson's service to our community. And also, I just want to share my thanks to Assistant County Administrator Von Laren. We, I think it goes back months ago, first having conversations, being aware, made aware of the opening upcoming, and I spoke to Mr. Von Laren about my feelings about the important roles that this seat is going to need, and gave my input, and I believe you took those words and were able to reach out to folks, and as I said, I was pleased with either one of these candidates, so thank you very much.
Very good. I think we have dealt with this. I see you voted, Mr. Von Laren. Reminds me we have an election happening today. So anybody watching, if you're in a municipality that has an election, or if you're on a state election, please don't forget to vote today.
Thank you, Mayor. Please vote. Thank you very much.
Very good. Okay, commission appointments. Let's start with Commissioner Sachs. Any appointments?
Not at this time.
Very good. Commissioner Bernard?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kerner, I understand you have an appointment for Commissioner McKinley.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner McKinley is going to handle her board appointments under her comments, but I do have district appointments, if I may.
Sure.
Make a motion to appoint Matthew Barnes to the LDRAB board and James Williams to Discover the Palm Beaches.
I got a second by the Vice Mayor. All in favor, all opposed, show that approved, 7-0. That's it. Commissioner McKinley?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to appoint Keith Wedgeworth, or make a motion to appoint Keith Wedgeworth to the Business Development Board.
Okay. I have a second by Vice Mayor. All in favor, all opposed. That has been approved, 7-0. Any other appointments? Okey doke. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. You know, we all take this seriously. I hope everyone knows that. And, you know, I think we have 20 or 23 boards that we appoint people to. So it is time consuming, and there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And we do try to appoint the people that fill the seats the best. And I am happy to appoint Mr. Roger Amadon to the Tourist Development Council for District 1. Roger has served on the board in the past, but moved out of the county and now has moved back into the county. So I would very gladly appoint him, and I hope you all will support that.
The Vice Mayor has seconded it. All in favor, all opposed. That's approved, 7-0. Okay, Vice Mayor?
None, sir.
Okay, and I have none myself. All right, let's move forward. It's time for staff comments. Ms. Baker, how are you over there? You've been so quiet today.
I like to be that way. Just the board directives. We have completed a few that we have been working on. One was we did purchase the emergency testing kits that the board talked about. So we finally received them. Our first order was usurped by the federal government. So we finally received ours, and we are in the process of working to get them distributed. We received 30,240 two-pack tests that we will disseminate throughout the county. In addition to that, we have been working. The board gave us direction to reconsider our food card benefit for anyone that had already received the benefit. If we had any left over, we did. We made seniors, disabled persons, and head of households with children under 5 a priority. The surplus was exhausted within a week, and so that program has sunsetted until we allocate or receive more dollars to be allocated for that particular purpose. We continue to work on update at future workshop for possible environmental and housing bonds. That's coming before you at the end of the month on March 29th. So we will have a whole day of the board giving us direction on not only environmental and housing bonds, but also other issues that will impact the potential November ballot, if not the August ballot. We're also working and will continue to work with the state and our farmers, along with Cooperative Extension, on finalizing the update on the impact of cold weather on our farmers and their crops. So we're working on a number of things, and the rest of them simply remain in process and moving forward. Ask the board to receive and file.
I got a motion to receive and file by Commissioner Kerner, second by Vice Mayor. All in favor, all opposed. It's approved 7-0. Just wanted to ask you a question. I think we have another program about to start with the distribution of additional funding for housing assistance. Can you just clarify when that starts?
That's the one you approved today.
Well, you know, people who need money may want to know how to get some of that money.
We will be advertising it. We've got the system already set up electronically. I don't know the specific date at this moment.
I think I
but
saw
we will
March
get that to you.
23rd, but I might be mistaken in that
I
date.
don't want to give the wrong date,
Okay.
but we will definitely advertise, and we will do a press release so that everyone knows when it
And
starts.
that will be for housing assistance?
That will be
and-
for rental, yes, rental.
Okay, no utilities in that one?
We have a utility program, but in this particular case, this is for rental assistance for the
Okay.
most part. We have other dollars that we've set aside, this board has approved and set aside for utility assistance.
Very good. Thank you. And the motion to receive and file has been approved, so we can move on to our county attorney, who we gave a lot of money to today.
She would like to say thank you. I do appreciate your support, and I know that our hardworking litigators appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it, and we'll see you upstairs at noon.
Yes.
Okay, let's see, anything left here? Oh, we got some commissioner comments. All right, we got plenty of time between now and noon. Commissioner Sacks.
Well, as we all know, today commemorates International Women's Day. And I know that we're going to hopefully hear comments from so many of us, and especially from my two women colleagues, Commissioner McKinley, and who helped me so much always. And when I was thinking about running, she was there front and center, and I call her our warrior mom. So I want to honor you, Commissioner McKinley, on this day. And I want to honor my other colleague to my right, and not necessarily always to my right, but who sits to my right, Commissioner Marino. We share the same first name, and we also share a struggle that we all women go through as we want to do things bigger and better than men. My dad taught me that I can do anything I want, anything. I just need to work hard for it, and that I could do it better than any man. And I've found in my life, most cases, that we shouldn't strive to do things as good as men, because we can do things different than men, and in most times better. So I also want to honor my daughter, Natasha. Just had another baby, and she's a good woman. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. You can't get an Italian to talk anything about moms or kids, you know. You get all choked up. But thank you, Commissioner McKinley, for being such a great woman that you are, and Commissioner Marino for being the great woman that you are as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to request to do two off-site proclamation. One, declaring March 2022 as Irish American Heritage Month in Palm Beach County. And the second, declaring March 2022 as Let's Move Palm Beach County Month.
Seconded by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, all opposed, 7-0.
All right, Ms. Mayor, I'd like to, I have a bunch of girls in my house, so.
We're going to sit back and let you take care of that.
So I'd like to wish my three girls and my wife, Sean, a happy Women's History Month, and today's happy International Women's Day to my constituents in District 7, and also my colleagues who, specifically Commissioner Sacks, Commissioner Marino, and Commissioner McKinley for their hard work for the residents of Palm Beach County.
Let's not forget our very hard-working county administrator over
and
there.
Our county administrator, Virginia Baker, and all of her staff in the county. Recently, President Joe Biden made a historic nomination with Judge Ketanji Jackson. She is highly qualified, and I strongly agree with President Biden that the composition of the court should reflect America's demographic. More importantly, Judge Jackson's nomination will go on to inspire all of our children, regardless of their gender or race, that they too, one day, can be a United States Supreme Court justice. And in honor of Women's History Month, the library is having an intriguing book discussion tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and more details can be found on the Palm Beach County Library's website. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. Commissioner Kerner.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments will be very brief. I appreciate and join in all the comments made by my colleagues previously. And so thank you for your service and recognition to our women leaders. I will not be able to join my colleagues at 2 p.m. for matters by the public because I will be canvassing in reference to that election. So I'll see you guys on the flip side.
I'm sure that you will make sure every vote is counted.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner Kerner. Commissioner McKinley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of comments and a couple of thank yous. First, I thought I'd be home today, but Todd has a baby to take care of, so I decided to hang out up here a little bit longer. We're working on budget items as well as helping out with Florida Association of Counties on some pretty egregious language that would affect counties. I really want to thank Todd Bumlary, Ed Chase, and Vicki Nolan, and our entire lobby team up here. They are phenomenal. They're working around the clock, saw them all weekend in different meetings. I really want to thank the entire team from, Ramsey and his code enforcement division, specifically Jody Guthrie, James Green and Community Services, my staff in my office for everything that they did to help relocate all of the residents of the Joe Lewis Apartments. Power was shut off to that building. Kudos to Florida Power and Light for making sure that that happened quickly. The power's been shut off, the water has been shut off, the landlord has been given until next week to get permits filed for demolition. She's already got more than $350,000 in accumulated code enforcement violations. Feel free to take a look at the videos and the pictures we posted. It is absolutely unacceptable to me, and I know to the rest of you, that anybody in this county would allow their tenants to live in the type of conditions these tenants were living in. Why didn't they report it? Because coincidentally, a lot of the residents that they did speak up found themselves facing eviction notices shortly thereafter. And so these people, our residents are living in fear sometimes of these landlords seeking retribution and then not having anywhere to go. So we need to crack down on these slumlords, and we need to shut them down. And that means that we've got to redirect county resources to help find more places for residents to go and live that are safe and healthy. There is no reason that a mother of a 7-month-old baby should have to clean out raw sewage dripping from the apartment above her into her kitchen sink every day, and boiling water to bathe her 7-month-old baby in a baby tub. No one should live like that. And I hope you will agree with me that we won't tolerate it in Palm Beach County. And our team worked together around the clock for the past 2.5, 3 weeks to shut this one down. And Ms. Baker, I just want to thank you for letting me work directly with your team. You did a phenomenal job. And then my fellow PMs on the dais there, it's a pleasure to work with all of you. Commissioner Sachs, thank you for those kind words, much appreciated. And to Commissioner Marino, it's an honor to join you as nominees by both the Women's Chamber and Executive Women in Palm Beaches as public sector honorees for our work on behalf of women in Palm Beach County. So thank you all. Have a great day. I will be at the shaping, but I will not be at matters by the public. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. And as we recognize International Women's Day, I want to recognize my mom, who came over here from Italy as a 12-year-old without her family, having gone through the war and been in a retention camp. And I would like to say I think she raised a wonderful daughter and a wonderful son, and I am here because of her. So on International Women's Day, I'd like to thank all the moms out there and all the aunts who serve as mothers to their nieces and nephews because they may not have been able to have children like me. But on that note, I will skip over to the Honda Classic. I would like to thank everybody that had attended the Honda Classic. We had over 300,000 people attend. And I want to say what makes the Honda Classic so important for our community is the money that it gives back. And my mom, who watches the meetings, corrected me at the last meeting where I said $5,000. It was last year the Honda Classic gave back $5 million to the county in the nonprofit world, and it is a big impact to our community. And it is success because of all the volunteers, all the nonprofits that are involved, the board of the directors, the Couture Club, which is a huge group of women that volunteer. So this economic driver for our community has been another success, and I just want to say, I want to shout out to all of the staff, and I thank them for my lanyard, my Honda Classic lanyard, and I also want to move on to SFRTA. For those of you that may not know, I am now the chair of the SFRTA. That happened at our last meeting. Hal Valashay has stepped aside as chair. He will continue to serve, but due to his bike accident a couple months ago, for those of you that don't know, Hal was in a pretty serious bike accident a couple months ago and has not been able to travel, so he felt it was better that somebody who was able to travel and be present at the meetings would continue on as the chair, and so that is now me. And on that note, I just want to say, again, International Women's Day. I have some wonderful women in my office also, and we do have a wonderful group of ladies that are in our county, whether it's the Women's Chamber or the Executive Women of the Palm Beaches or the Junior League. We do come together to support each other, and thank you to my fellow commissioners, my fellow female commissioners, as we don't let our politics get in the way of our friendship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Marino. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of District 6 Commissioner Melissa McKinley, I'd like to request an off-site proclamation declaring March 2022 as Women's History Month in Palm Beach County, and request an off-site proclamation declaring April 1st as 2022 as the Lord's Place Sleep Out Homelessness Awareness Day in Palm Beach County.
Okay, the motion made by Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, all opposed. Those are approved unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner McKinley.
And so a couple things. I notice we have some young people here in our audience today. Is there a reason for this? Oh.
Mike Jones from the County Attorney's Office. Yes, we have, I believe, 11 members of the Pre-Law Society at American Heritage Boca del Rey here with us today. So they're here kind of shadowing me and watching your meeting. We're going to have a couple other things for them today. They're all seniors at American Heritage in Del Rey, and we're glad to have them.
Well, delighted to see you all here, and hopefully this lived up to your expectations. If not, you can ask for your money back. A couple things I want to note. Over this past weekend, I was able to attend Lantana at Lantana Beach, had their Barefoot Mailman event. It was a great family event. And then in the city of Green Acres, returning after a bit of a hiatus and some postponements due to the pandemic, the Three Kings celebration was able to return. And both were well attended and well-run programs. Last week, I also had the opportunity to join artist Sean Kenny at the Mounts Botanical Garden. If you're not aware, there is a new display, or multiple displays. It's called Nature Pops. If you haven't seen it, I have to tell you, it's pretty amazing. These are sculptures of animals and people and things made out of Legos. Literally thousands and thousands of Legos to create these amazing sculptures. So I want to invite everybody, if you have an opportunity, stop by Mounts, check out this. If you're, for kids, I know sometimes going to a botanical garden may not be as cool, but when you see these sculptures, they're just absolutely amazing, and hopefully it'll inspire kids to go home and build some of their own. And then also was made aware and had an opportunity to visit a place called the Reef Institute. And it's located right here in West Palm Beach, in Northwood, Old Northwood. It's a facility that is helping to preserve and restore our coral reefs by helping to both rescue corals and grow them, if you will, because, of course, they're living beings. They are not, they're animals. And just a phenomenal work that's going on there. And I just wanted to recognize the work that they're doing to help return our coral reef system in Florida back to health. So that's what I have to share today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And to our listeners, this may sound like a filibuster as we keep on going to noon since we're stuck here, but I have a few things. First, as I mentioned before, we have a bike ride coming up on March 11th at 8 a.m. They will be starting off at the TPA 3 blocks from here, and notwithstanding my age or better judgment, I will be riding my bicycle and hopefully make it back this time on the bicycle instead of walking the bicycle back to the TPA. The day before, I have been invited by Troy McClellan at the Boca Raton Chamber to address the members with the State of the County address. It'll be my pleasure to be down there, and I know several of you are going to join me down there, and I'm very appreciative of you being there and having a friendly audience. Rail safety, I guess this is going to become a common topic. At our meetings, we lost another, well, we didn't lose a person, actually. They survived their accident. We need to continue to be mindful of the fact that trains are going up and down these tracks. We have the Bright Line now over 20 times a day. We have freight, we have Tri-Rail, and trying to beat a train is stupid. There's no other way to put it. And we are having increased enforcement. I know they've written hundreds of tickets, but no ticket is going to change someone's life who gets in front of a train that cannot stop. So please be mindful of the trains. If the gate is down, do not go around the gate. It does not pay. As I mentioned before, it's Election Day. If you are in a municipality that has an election today, please get out and vote. There's usually a very low turnout. Your vote will be very, very important to the candidates who are running in this election. And on that note, again, we are, as a body, going to continue our meeting upstairs at noon. It'll be a shade meeting, which means the public will not be there, but there will be a record kept of this meeting, and when our lawsuit has been ended, it will be made a public record. And we will be back here at 2 p.m. to hear from our residents in matters by the public. And so with that, we are recessed.